Hello, students! Today, we're going to dive into a very important topic from your civics syllabus, the different kinds of political parties we have here in India. You know, understanding this is key to seeing how our democracy really works.
So let's start with a question. I'm sure you've noticed that a political party, say in Tamil Nadu or Punjab, talks about very different things compared to a party that operates all over the country, right? Well, that's the big question we're going to explore. How local issues shape politics in a huge country like ours. So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with India's federal system, then look at the difference between national and state parties. We'll talk about the election commission, the rules for getting recognized, and why state parties are so important. And we'll finish up with a summary and some exam tips.
First things first, let's connect this whole topic to something you already know from your classes, India's federal system of government. This is actually the main reason why we have different kinds of parties in the first place.
It just makes sense, doesn't it? We have a central government for the whole country, and then we have separate governments for each state. So since power is shared between the center and the states, our party system naturally follows that pattern. We have parties that work on a national level and others that focus on a state level.
Okay, so let's get into the details of these two main types of political parties in India. We're going to clearly define what makes a party national and what makes a party a state party.
So the main difference here is really about their area of influence. On one hand, you have national parties. These are big, countrywide parties with offices in many states, and they focus on national issues. On the other hand, you have state parties, which people often call regional parties. Their influence is usually just in one state or maybe a couple of states, and they focus on the specific issues of that region. So, a very important question. Who decides if a party is national or state level? Can a party just decide for itself? No, not at all. There's a very important neutral body that manages this whole process to make sure everything is fair. And that body is the Election Commission of India, or the ECI. Now, you can think of the ECI as the referee or the umpire of our democracy. Every single political party has to register with them, and while the ECI treats every party equally, it gives special benefits like a unique election symbol only to those parties that meet certain conditions. These are what we call recognized parties.
Okay, now please pay close attention. This part is very, very important for your exams. We're going to look at the exact rules a party has to follow to get recognized by the Election Commission.
Let's start with the rules for becoming a recognized state party. Now, there are two conditions here, and it's really important to remember that a party has to meet both of them. Let's break it down. The first condition is about how many votes a party gets. It must get at least 6% of the total valid votes that are cast in an election for that state's legislative assembly. So that's the first condition, the percentage of votes. But, just getting a certain percentage of votes is not enough. There is a second condition that the party absolutely must meet, and this one is about winning actual seats. And that second condition is this. The party must also win at least 2 seats in that very same state assembly election. So let me repeat that, because it's important. A party needs both things, at least 6% of the votes and at least 2 seats to become a recognized state party.
All right, now let's talk about becoming a national party. As you can probably guess, the rules for this are a little tougher, and they involve a much larger area. Let's take a look. So, to become a national party, a party needs to get at least 6% of the total votes in a countrywide Lok Sabha election, or it needs to get 6% of the votes in the assembly elections of at least 4 different states. And on top of that, it must also win a minimum of 4 seats in the Lok Sabha.
Now that we know the difference, let's talk about why these state parties are so important for our country. Sometimes people think that only national parties matter, or that these regional parties are not good for national unity. But actually, that's not true at all. You see, over the last few decades, state parties have grown a lot, both in number and in strength. And this is a very good thing for India. It means that the unique voices and concerns from all the different regions of our country get heard, which makes our democracy much more diverse and representative. This political diversity is what makes our democracy so alive and vibrant. When you look at the political landscape of India, you can see how all these different regional parties across the country represent unique identities and local issues. This really helps in making our democracy work for everyone. And this is really the key point. For a long time now, it has been very difficult for any single national party to win a majority in the Lok Sabha all by itself.
This means they have to form alliances or coalitions with state parties to form the government. This forces the national government to listen to regional concerns, which is wonderful for our federal system and for our democracy.
Okay, so let's do a quick summary of everything we've learned. And after that, I'll give you some simple tips to help you write excellent answers on this topic in your exams.
So, here are the main takeaways. Our federal system is why we have both national and state parties. The Election Commission is the one who recognizes them based on clear rules about votes and seats. And remember, state parties are very important because they make sure regional voices are part of our democracy. This is a great slide to come back to for a quick revision. And finally, here are some tips to help you score well. First, always write the full name, Election Commission of India, before you use the short form, ECI. Second, if you're asked to show the difference between the parties, drawing a table is a really good idea. Third, please memorize those numbers for the criteria. And last, when you say state parties are important, remember to explain why. Talk about coalitions and regional voices.
To finish, here's a little something for you to think about. Imagine a new party starts up and it only cares about the issues in your city. Based on what we've just discussed, what would that party need to do to become a recognized state party? Think about it. The best way to learn is to apply what you know. Thank you for your attention.